The clearing. You ever hear a voice on the other end of a phone and just know something is terribly wrong? I didn't. Not until that night. My name is Kyle, and the voice on the phone was my brother Brandon. This story isn't mine to tell, not really. It's his, but I'm the last person who ever heard him alive. So I guess that makes me the one who has to live with it. August 8th, 2013, hot as hell in Texas, like always. Brandon and his girlfriend Ladessa had a fight that night. Nothing crazy, just one of those arguments couples have. He'd been clean for 6 months, off the meth, working steady in the oil fields, being a good dad to their 4 kids. But that night, she thought he'd relapsed, told him to leave. So he left. Around midnight, he got in his pickup truck and headed for our dad's place, about 3 hours away. 45 minutes later, my phone rings. It's Brandon. He says he ran out of gas. On Highway 277, somewhere south of Bronte, middle of nowhere, pitch black, rocky terrain, nothing but mesquite trees and cactus for miles. I tell him I'm coming. I grab a gas can, fill it up, and hit the road. While I'm driving, he calls me back. His voice is different now, faster, scared. He says,
"There are people chasing me, Mexicans. They're chasing me out of town."
I've heard him high before. I know what it sounds like. And this wasn't that. This was fear, real fear. I tell him to calm down, ask what happened. He says he's bleeding, says he's hurt. Then the call drops. I keep driving. At 12:50 a.m., while I'm still on the road, Brandon calls 911. And this call is the reason I'm telling you this story, because you can hear it yourself if you want. It's online, just look it up. Brandon Lawson's 911 call. He's frantic, breathing hard. He tells the operator,
"I'm in the middle of a field. Pushed some guys over, going toward Abilene on both sides. My truck ran out of gas. There's one car here. The guy's chasing, into the woods. Please hurry."
The operator asks if he needs an ambulance. He says,
"No, I need the cops."
Then the line goes dead. I didn't know about that call at the time. None of us did. The police never told us. Ladessa had to get the records herself, months later. I pull up to his truck around 1:30 a.m. A deputy is already there. Someone called about the truck blocking the lane. I park, get out, and call Brandon. He answers. I say, "Where are you? I'm at your truck." He says,
"I can see you. I'm right here."
I look around. Nothing. Just darkness and scrub brush. He says,
"There's a cop there. I can't come out. I've got a warrant. I'll wait until he leaves."
That made sense. He had a minor warrant, nothing serious. So I waited. The deputy left after a while. I called Brandon again, no answer. I called again, nothing. I started searching, walked the area with a flashlight, called his name until my throat hurt. Nothing. At 2 a.m., his phone went dead. Either the battery died or he turned it off. We never heard from him again. For years, we searched. Family, volunteers, police with dogs. Nothing, not a trace, just theories. Police said he ran off. Started a new life. But his paycheck was still in his bank account. His 401k was untouched. And Brandon? Brandon loved his kids. He wouldn't just disappear. Some people think he got lost in that rocky terrain. Rattlesnakes, wild hogs, heat. It's possible. But they searched, again and again. Nothing. Others, and this is the one that keeps me up at night. They listen to that 911 call, and they hear something else. A second voice. In the background, whispering, or maybe laughing. You can find it online. Listen for yourself. Tell me what you hear. 9 years. That's how long we waited. In February 2022, a volunteer search team went out to that area again, private land that had just opened up. And they found something. Clothes, a yellow shirt, green camouflage shorts, white sneakers. The exact clothes Brandon was wearing that night. They called the Texas Rangers. The Rangers searched the area and found human remains. In December 2024, DNA confirmed what we already knew in our hearts. It was Brandon. They gave us his remains last year. July 2025, we finally held a memorial service, 4,362 days after he disappeared. But here's the thing, the Rangers haven't released a cause of death. Some sources say his case is now listed as a homicide, others won't comment. We don't know if he fell, if he got lost, or if someone, the guys he was running from that night, if they found him first. I still think about that call, the one where he said, "I can see you." He was right there, somewhere in the dark, watching me stand next to his truck, and I never saw him. What do you say to the guys who were chasing him? The ones he heard in the woods? Were they real? Or was it something else? I don't know. Maybe I never will. But if you're ever driving through Texas late at night and your phone dies and you run out of gas on an empty highway, just remember Brandon. Remember that sometimes the scariest thing isn't what you find in the dark. It's what finds you. The Hunter. I've been hunting since I was 12 years old. My dad taught me, my grandpa taught him. It's in my blood, you know? The quiet, the patience, the way the woods feel different when you're the only person for miles. I've always loved that feeling. Last November, I drew a tag for the Eagle Point Unit, Southern Oregon, good elk country. I'd been scouting that area for weeks, found a decent herd up near Condi Creek, remote spot, national forest land, the kind of place you go to get away from people. I went out on a Friday, left before dawn, drove 2 hours, parked at the trailhead, and hiked in about 3 miles before the sun even came up. Perfect day. Cold, clear, not a cloud in the sky. I set up on a ridge around 9 a.m., good vantage point, could see down into this little meadow where the elk had been moving. I settled in behind a log, pulled out my binoculars, and just waited. That's what hunting is mostly. Waiting. Around 11, I heard something. Not elk, something else. Movement. Down the ridge, maybe 200 yards. I raised my binoculars, scanned the trees. At first, I didn't see anything. Just the usual. Pines. Brush. Shadows. Then I saw him. A man, standing at the edge of the tree line, just staring up toward my position. He wasn't moving, wasn't hunting, no rifle I could see, just standing there, facing me. I lowered my binoculars, looked with my naked eye, couldn't make out details at that distance, just a shape, dark clothes, standing perfectly still. I raised the binoculars again. He was gone. I told myself it was nothing. Another hunter maybe, someone who saw me and moved on. Happens sometimes. I went back to watching the meadow. 20 minutes passed, maybe 30. Then I heard a crack, not a twig, a gunshot. Close, too close. And I felt it hit me, my leg, my left leg, like someone punched me with a red-hot hammer. I went down hard, hit the ground, and for a second, I couldn't breathe, couldn't think, just this burning, screaming pain in my thigh. I looked down. Blood. Dark and wet, spreading through my pants. I'd been shot. I crawled behind the log, pressed my hand against the wound, pulled out my phone. No service. Of course. 3 miles into national forest. No service. I yelled, just yelled, as loud as I could. "Help! I'm hit!" Nothing. Just the wind. I waited. Listened. My heart was pounding so hard I could hear it in my ears. But through that, I heard something else. Footsteps. Running. Away from me. Down the ridge, back toward the road. I couldn't move. Couldn't follow. I just lay there behind that log, bleeding, listening to whoever shot me run away. I don't know how long I waited. Long enough that the bleeding slowed. Long enough that I started to get cold. Long enough that I started to think this might be it. This might be how I die. Alone in the woods. Shot by someone I never even saw. But I got lucky. 2 other hunters heard the shot, heard me yelling. They found me around noon. One of them stayed with me, put pressure on the wound. The other ran back to the road to call for help. The rescue took hours. They had to bring an ATV in, then an ambulance, then a helicopter. I spent 3 days in the hospital. The bullet went clean through my thigh, missed the artery by less than an inch. The police came to talk to me while I was recovering, showed me photos, asked questions. They said a witness saw a white Chevy truck with a canopy leaving the area around the time I was shot. They said the shooter ran. They said they were looking. They never found him. Months later, I got a call from the detective, case 22-6457. He said they'd followed every lead, talked to every hunter in the area, checked every white Chevy truck they could find. Nothing. The shooter just disappeared. He said it was probably a hunting accident. Someone who mistook me for game, panicked, and ran. Happens more than you'd think. People get scared. They make bad decisions. But here's what I keep coming back to. That man I saw. The one standing at the edge of the tree line, staring up at me. Before the shot. He wasn't hunting. No rifle. No orange. Just standing there, watching. And when I got shot, the footsteps ran away from my position. Not toward the road where the white truck was. Away from it. Deeper into the woods. I don't know if it was an accident. I don't know if it was something else. I just know I don't hunt alone anymore. And every time I'm in the woods, every time I hear a branch snap behind me, I turn around and I look. Because somewhere out there, someone knows what happened that day. Someone knows whose finger was on that trigger. And for whatever reason, they've never come forward. I hope it was an accident. I really do. But if it wasn't, then there's someone out there who knows they shot me, who knows they left me to bleed out in the woods, and who's never had to answer for it. That's the part that keeps me up at night. The cave. I've been caving since I was 16. There's something about being underground that's always felt right to me. The silence, the darkness, the way the world above just disappears. Most people don't get it. They think it's crazy to crawl through holes in the earth for fun. But if you're a caver, you understand. This was supposed to be a routine trip. March 1959. A group of us from the British Speleological Association, 8 experienced cavers, went to Peak Cavern in Derbyshire. Famous cave system. Tourists go there every day, but we weren't there for the tourist route. We were there for a new passage, discovered just 2 weeks before. Unexplored, untouched. The kind of thing cavers dream about. We crawled through muddy passages for what felt like hours, narrow squeezes, tight corners, the kind of spaces where you have to exhale just to fit through. Eventually, we made it to a chamber about 1,000 feet from the entrance, and there it was. A vertical shaft, narrow, dark, leading down into absolute blackness. We knew it was about 40 feet deep. The other guys had checked it out earlier. They said it had a tricky corkscrew twist about halfway down. Not for the faint of heart. But I was young, 20 years old, fit, slim. I said I'd go first. Big mistake. I tied the rope around my waist and started descending. Feet first, like you're supposed to. The walls were tight, really tight, but I could move, inch by inch. Down into the dark. The light from above got smaller and smaller until it was just a pinprick. I made it past the corkscrew. That part was tricky, but I managed. I kept going. And then I saw it. A boulder, blocking the way. Not completely, but enough that I had to squeeze past. I tried. I really tried. But when I shifted my weight, something happened. The boulder moved. Just a little. And suddenly, I felt the walls press in. Hard. I was stuck. At first, I wasn't scared. I'd been stuck before. It happens. You just stay calm, figure out the right angle, and work your way out. I called up to the guys. I'm stuck. Give me a minute. I tried to move. Nothing. Tried again. Still nothing. My arms were pinned to my sides. I couldn't reach the ladder rungs above me. Couldn't pull myself up. Couldn't go down. That's when the fear started. They dropped a rope down. I managed to tie it around myself. They pulled. The rope snapped. They tied it again. Pulled again. It snapped again. 3 times. 4 times. Each time the rope broke, I felt myself slip a little deeper into that crack. And the air. God, the air. It was getting thick, heavy, hard to breathe. I didn't know it then, but my body was blocking the shaft. The carbon dioxide from my own breathing was building up around me. No circulation, no fresh air, just my own exhaled breath getting thicker and thicker. I started to feel strange, disoriented, like I'd had too much to drink. The guys above said later that I sounded confused on the rope signals, unconcerned. I even told them to go eat something, like it was no big deal. That wasn't me. That was the CO2. Hours passed. I don't know how many. Time stops meaning anything when you're trapped in the dark. At some point, I heard voices. New voices. Rescuers had arrived. They were trying to get to me. They sent oxygen down, little tanks on ropes. I tried to reach them, but I couldn't move my arms. The mask dangled just inches from my face and I couldn't reach it. I remember staring at it. So close. So impossibly close. Then came June, an 18-year-old girl. Small. Experienced. She crawled all the way through those narrow passages to reach me. They say she was ready to break my collarbones if that's what it took to free my shoulders. She tried for 6 hours. 6 hours in that foul air, getting headaches, getting sick. But she couldn't reach me. No one could. The rain started. Heavy rain. The kind that floods caves. Everyone had to pull back. Leave me there alone in the dark while the water rose somewhere in the distance. I don't remember much after that. Just the darkness, the weight of the rock against my chest, the sound of my own breathing getting slower and slower. At some point, the breathing stopped. They came back when the rain eased, listened for me. Nothing. Just silence. A doctor crawled down as far as he could and confirmed what everyone already knew. I was gone. My father was waiting at the entrance. He'd been there the whole time. 3 days, waiting for news that never came. When they told him, he made one request. Leave my son where he is. Don't risk anyone else's life trying to bring him out. So they did. They sealed the shaft with loose rocks from the cave floor. No concrete, like the newspapers said. Just stones. Natural. Peaceful. That was 1959. They call that chamber Moss Chamber now. There's a plaque nearby. Cavers go there sometimes, pay their respects, and if you go deep enough into Peak Cavern, if you know where to look, you'll find that shaft, still sealed, still holding what's left of a 20-year-old kid who just wanted to explore. I think about that sometimes, about being left there, alone in the dark, for 67 years now. And I wonder, if you went down there today, put your ear against those rocks, would you hear anything? Probably not. Probably not.